Today on Sagittarian Matters, we have an animal rescue, chicken chat, podcast drama, food reviews, CAROB molasses, new glasses, and more. With very special guests, Cathy de la Cruz, Morgan, and Dawn Riddle. Stay tuned.
Sagittarian Matters, Sagittarian Matters, what's the matter with you? Sagittarian Matters.
1, 2, 3. Unsolicited vegan food reviews, completely and totally unsolicited reviews for you. What are they gonna say? We didn't ask for it, but we got 'em anyway.
Hello, Sagittarian Matters. Here's Dawn Riddle, your unsolicited vegan food reviewer, with a quick vegan food review and a podcast review. First, the podcast review. Let the record show Nicole tried to cancel me on the internet because I left a non-caffeinated grain beverage in her cabinet. Listen, I forgot. I put it up there and I forgot. So please stop sending me horrible DMs and throwing eggs at my house. Throwing fake egg at my house. Stop it. It all worked out. She likes Catholics. So please stop ruining my life. Okay, part 2. There's a candy that's like the health food store Skittles. That's called Giggles. 1, it's a great name. 2, absolutely delicious. The downside is they cost a lot of money, a lot more than Skittles. But the upside is they fucking rock. And I had a 4-year-old hanging out at my house, and her vocabulary has recently gotten like a lot funnier, a lot more grown up. And I said, do you want to try one of these? And she said, yeah. And she put it in her mouth and chewed and had a completely blank expression on her face. And I said, hey, what do you think? Do you like them? And she looked at me and said, I kind of love these. So that's the review we're going to leave you with. We kind of love them. They're so good. Okay, I hope everyone is doing well, and please stop being mad at me. Okay, I love you. Bye.
Nicole, this has already been reviewed by Morgan, but now it's reviewed by Dawn. Gladys's restaurant counter in the food counter place in Denver. Oh my God, I could weep. We ate a sandwich that I cannot understand. It was a Reuben. It was made with all root vegetables. I mean, there was like kraut and some sort of creamy sauce. It looked like pastrami. It was so good. And Morgan got it. And then Dietz and I had to get it, even though we already ate full dinners. Then we each ate half of a giant sandwich.
And cried.
We were crying.
I'm not even vegan, and I cried. It was so good.
It was so good. I know that you're not in Denver, but like, come to Denver and you got to eat this sandwich. You got to eat it all. I think it's worth it. The flight's pretty short. It's fine. You got to eat the sandwich. Okay, I love you. Bye. Okay, Sagittarian Matters. It finally happened. I know a lot of listeners have been writing in and requesting for Dawn and Morgan to do an unsolicited vegan food review together.
You're in luck.
In the same place, same town, Denver, Colorado.
Here we are. Woo! Dawn has brought us in a sensation today called CAROB molasses. Mm-hmm. There's just 2 beautiful carob pots featured on the front.
Yeah. The ingredients, carob and water.
We're tasting it on ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Gingerbread ice cream, oat milk base.
Whoa.
Good or bad, whoa?
I'm not a fan.
Whoa, not a fan?
If you love the smell of stinky carob, you're going to love the taste.
Wait, do you not like carob?
Take a sniff.
Oh, I love it.
Ugh, Dawn.
Oh my God, I love it.
Oh my God,
it tastes like molasses made of carob. I love it.
It is. That's why you're wrong. I don't need this left with me.
What? Mail it to Nicole. It's so good.
Nicole, you're in luck.
Oh my God, I could eat this all day.
Ooh. I think carob kind of smells like feet.
It's a feat that I can hang with.
And it's concentrated.
Oh my god! This is the most delicious thing I've ever tasted.
I am not sure.
We've really parted ways. Although we did go to Gladys again tonight and eat more things. And it was again the greatest food of our lives.
I got the sandwich again, and I'm convinced it's impossible to recreate.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Harupstroop.
I mean, I'm having more carob syrup.
You can have it all. I think it's unpleasant.
Nicole, with carob and water, you can't go wrong. It's so good.
Oh my god, it's nothing but wrong.
All right, listeners, this is not the most concise or...
It smells like a vitamin.
So well, I hope listeners are happy.
I'm cleansing my palate with some ice cream.
The ice cream is from... What's the place called? Cool Ice Cream? Happy Cones. It's New Zealand style, whatever that means.
It's cool.
Yeah, I think it's good. We got a gingerbread oat milk ice cream, and I don't hate it. Tastes good with carob.
Don's a liar. Oh, wow.
Okay, well,
I gotta go.
we're happy that we were giving you this review, but our friendship is over. I love you. Bye-bye.
Dawn Riddle is a multidisciplinary artist from Portland, Oregon. She's a brilliant painter, weaver, photographer, musician, playwright, videographer, and unsolicited food review correspondent. Find her on the World Wide Web at dawnriddle.com. Morgan is a frequent contributor to Sagittarian Matters. She's the former purveyor of Dovetail Bakery, and she loves dry, crunchy foods more than any earthling could possibly understand. Now, please enjoy these food reviews from Morgan and Dawn. Hello from the Sagittarian Matters Social Distancing Studios in Waterville, Maine. I come to you live from the floor of a closet, listeners, and the fourth wall has been broken, or the third wall, the wall between reviewers has been broken, and friend to the show, Morgan, did send me this bottle of Sarah brand CAROB Molasses. A beautiful depiction of 2 carob pods. She tried to warn me that it had been open for a little while, but as a matter of fact, that's fine. So here I go. I am unscrewing the lid and taking a whiff. There is something about it that is very animal. It's very gamey. It smells like the inside of Carob's body. If Carob was an animal, it smells like the inside of Carob's body. The gaminess turned me off originally, but I've actually gotten a little used to it. I got this a couple weeks ago, and at first I tried it, and the smell was off-putting, but now I kind of I'm dating Carob, and I'm getting to really get into the smells of like this is like Carob's dirty t-shirt that I am putting over my head and just taking a whiff of because I miss Carob. So I'm trying the taste of it by putting it in a bowl with a little bit of tahini. That's the way I like to have, but I'll try it by itself. I hope you like that scraping. Is that ASMR for you? It tastes good. It's thinner and sweeter than blackstrap molasses. It does taste like carob molasses. It just tastes like, if you think of the earthier elements of carob, the kind of darker elements in carob, and if you think of the darker elements in molasses, it's those two things together. And let's try it with a little tahini. That's pretty good. Right now, I'm on a real tahini and molasses kick. They're kind of the new power couple. They're the new tahini and maple syrup. This carob molasses has the same kind of rich undercurrents as a prune. So having this, or any molasses, with tahini is a nice combo. I don't know what to do with this carob molasses. The gaminess is almost off-putting, like it triggers something in the back of my jaw that feels like, it triggers saliva in the back of my jaw that is like a very powerful, ancient kind of like, am I going to throw up from the smell or do I love the smell? I don't know. It is like foot. It's like a carob's foot is what it smells like. I really recommend you try it, listeners. Okay, there's other major news, and that major news is that I got a new pair of glasses. If you are a longtime listener to the show, you may remember in 2018 where we did a multi-episode arc about me trying to find new glasses. Here's the gist, if you didn't listen to it. I have a really strong prescription. We're talking medical. Very expensive glasses coming out the gate. There is not like a Zenni optical option for me that's going to be pleasing or pleasant for anybody. We're talking like when I go to the glasses store, just like Lisa Simpson with her braces, they put in my hand a piece of glass that is, I kid you not, like an inch thick. And they're like, this is your glasses if you don't get like the highest quality lens available. This is your prescription. And it's horrifying. They mean for it to cause horror in my heart, and it works. So that's where we're starting at. In 2018, when I wanted glasses, I wanted like cool, big, square secretary glasses. And I thought, oh, my prescription's too strong for that. My face will get demagnetized. Like you'll see my head will turn into a tiny head inside of my glasses. But I thought, rich people must have to deal with this. Maybe if I throw enough money at the problem, it will go away. And I went to a fancy glasses store, and they assured me that if I threw money at it, it would go away, and that these glasses would look excellent. Well, you're not going to believe it, listeners, but I paid a bunch of money, and the glasses did not look excellent. In fact, they looked worse than any glasses I had ever had. As far as like, I mean, I might also have some kind of face mole face dysphoria or dysmorphia where like I'll try on different glasses. They look great in the store. Oh my God, so chic. Oh, so smart. Oh, who's that, a model? Is this America's Next Top Model? Look at her in those glasses. And then my prescription gets put in the glasses and it looks like a mole put them on. Because as soon as I put them on, my prescription is so intense, so thick, that my eyes turn tiny and my head looks far away. And it looks like I'm struggling to reach you through many, many inches of glass. And that's my situation in life. So actually what I have to do is find glasses that are somehow, powerful enough on their own that they will trick the eye into not noticing the intense demagnification. How much of this is in my head? How much of the call's coming from in the house? Maybe a lot of it. And yet this is the head that I'm in. This is the head and eyeballs and face and plastic on the face that I am stuck with. So my dear glasses that I had, which were by Caroline Abram, beautiful black glasses, in my opinion, the arm broke. I Gorilla Glued them back on after taking them to a place, having them fixed, having them break again. I Gorilla Glued them. So they're hanging on by a thread. Anywhere I go to the doctor, I'm like, don't close those glasses because they're too fragile. And then the front got so scratched up that I couldn't see out of them. And I would be driving in the sun and I would be blinded, or I'd be driving at night and a light would shine off of them and they're so scratched up that I'd be like, am I night blind? Had to get new glasses. I went to a place in Portland, Maine called North Optical because I'm in Maine. So I had to rent a car. I don't have a car. I drove an hour to North Optical, a high-end glassesier owned by a gentleman who would love to talk to you about glasses, and his helper. And those two gentlemen had me try on no fewer than 25 pairs of glasses. And did they know how to combat demagnification? They did. They knew exactly what I was talking about. They did not trick me. It was still expensive, but we all knew the risks. I would look at a certain frame. They would say, you can't wear those ones. Okay, I get it. Thank you. Because if you have glasses like mine, the bigger the frame, the more tiny your head will look inside the frame. So I had to get ones that fit inside my face, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Now I have a new pair of glasses. Do I feel like a movie star in them? No. Do I still feel like a mole? Sort of. But I'm getting used to them. And that's what I wanted to tell you. I will post a picture of them. Thank you for being with me on this quest. And to all of you who have written to me who have either a similarly intense nearsighted prescription or a similarly intense farsighted prescription, I appreciate you. Oh, I want to tell you one more thing. When I went to get my eyes checked last time, I was like, I've been thinking about LASIK. Because I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a life where glasses weren't enforced? And the ophthalmologist said, well, LASIK's for people whose prescriptions aren't actively decreasing or aren't getting worse. So LASIK's for people whose prescriptions don't get worse every year. So you're not a candidate right now. And I was like, oh, touche. I want to tell you about three things I'm liking. Pardon me. One thing I'm talking about on Patreon, and then one opportunity to learn comics with me. 3 things I'm enjoying. Little Lad's popcorn with molasses and tahini. Ooh, this is a local treat. It's $2.99. It's kind of like kettle corn, but it's made with molasses and tahini. Powerful combination. The power couple of our time. Heart Coffee Roasters in Portland, Oregon makes a decaf that is out of this world. Have you ever heard someone say that about the taste of decaffeinated coffee before? I bet you haven't. Heart Coffee makes a decaf that I stand by, and it is much more expensive than you want if you want to drink it out of a Camel pack, which I do. Okay, I told you I was watching Traders, or I told Patreon I was watching Traders. It's hosted by Alan Cumming. He looks fantastic. He's very gay. He's very flamboyant. He says, welcome to my castle. You must do this challenge to add to the prize pot. Who's a traitor and who's a faithful? And there's a lot of reality stars, and there's almost no strategy. Why do I say that? Because upon the recommendation of other podcasters, including Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang, I watched Traders Australia, and I'm in the midst of Traders UK. And these are not reality stars. These are normal people, and they're actually using a lot of strategy. I really recommend Traders Australia. You can watch it on Peacock. This is not SpawnCon. You can just watch it there. Some of these seasons are a bit tragic, and they seem really stacked against the faithfuls, but the strategy was fun to watch. And if you don't know this, I'm going to remind you, your friend Nicole Georges, will always be killed first in a game of Mafia. I have thought long and hard over these many hours of watching the Traders while I'm here on my residency in Maine. I've thought, how would I act? What could I do if I was on the show to get people to not kill me? The answer is nothing. Because either A, I'm being quiet and people think you're up to something, Sagittarius, or B, I'm loud and then the traitors choose to quote unquote murder. They don't really murder you. They give you a note that says you've been murdered, and then you just have to leave the game. No actual death is happening, but I just want to say, as of now in my life, there's no way for me to win the Traders, and that's too bad. Yeah, maybe as I age, it seems like matrons, elder women get a little further, elder queers even get a little further, but the age I'm at, my Sagittarius disposition, it's not looking good for me in a game like this. And of course, I would tell everybody that the first day, and then they would kill me because they'd be like, why are you setting us up? I recapped the television show Love is Blind so that I watched it so you don't have to. It's season 6. It's on Netflix. My recaps of episodes 1 through 11 are currently on Patreon behind a paywall. And that's where they are. I talked about Love is Blind. And you can go listen to it on patreon.com/Nicole J. Georges. The last thing I want to tell you is this spring, end of April, all through May, I'm having a graphic memoir class on Zoom. Space is limited. These are really fun classes. I like them, and you can come together with a graphic memoir community of cartoonists, both new and old. No drawing experience is required, just a willingness to draw. You can find out more about that on my website, NicoleJGeorges.com. That's it. Except one more thing. I love, if you Google this, curry brown butter lentil soup, and you veganize it, you will love it. It's from some website like 101recipes.com. Somebody made this for me about 10 years ago, and I have been making this recipe ever since. I don't know if this person even remembers that she had dinner with me, but someday I will tell her, I did have dinner with you, and you made this soup for all of us, and it stuck in my brain because I loved it so much. And now I make it. I make spinach on the side, just like we had at your house. Sometimes I have a little vegan cheese. Sometimes I have some cubes of tofu. I put it all together. Baby, you got a stew going. Thanks for listening to the podcast, and please enjoy my talk with Cathy de la Cruz. Cathy de la Cruz is a creator of writing, films, videos, DJ sets, the occasional live comedy set, and more. Cathy holds an MFA in creative writing from the University of Arizona, Tucson, and an MFA in visual art from the University of California, San Diego. She currently lives and works in Brooklyn, New York, and she's a longtime friend of the show. Whether you know it or not, she's a Sagittarius, and she joined me to talk about something that happened on the way to yoga. I think you will be interested to know. Now please enjoy my talk with Sagittarius friend of the show, Cathy de la Cruz. Cathy de la Cruz, welcome to Sagittarian Matters.
Thank you, Nicole Georges.
You are an honored Sagittarian. You're not only a friend of the podcast, but you're also a friend of friends of the podcast.
Yes, I am.
For many years, widely.
Yeah, we have been in the same circle since, I don't know, since we were babies, teenagers.
Literally cradle to cradle. Cradle to cradle Sagittarians. And your birthday is one day after my birthday.
It's wild. I can't believe I'm older than you by a day.
No, I'm older than you by a day.
Oh my God, you're right. I'm such a Sagittarius. I thought that because my number was bigger, I somehow thought that made me older.
No, I'm way more mature because it's 24 hours of living.
What time were you born?
9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I was born at like 2:43 in the morning. So
really?
A little less than 24 hours apart.
Oh, so I'm like, I had like 20 hard hours of life or 18 hard hours of life.
Yeah.
Okay. You're here today. It's a very special occasion. You were touched by an angel. You live in New York. I don't know what else the setting is, except for one day you decided to do a different style of yoga or a different place than you've done before.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. And also, I love your organization for your call sheet. Just want to say that. I work remotely in New York City. I have been since March 2020, wink, wink. There was a special thing that happened around that time. And I live alone. And so I need to get fresh air. I need to move my body after being home alone all day with my precious cat Fig. And so I decided I had been going to this 5 days a week free meditation and journaling class put on by a yoga studio. It was supposed to be their December and January offering. I guess they just do things for the community for free like that. And I hadn't realized, but I was pretty much the only one going to this meditation and journaling session who wasn't actually a yoga student. So I think I'm like the unofficial, like, auditing the yoga class, yoga teacher training. And they're all doing it because they need the hours and they're taking turns leading this meditation. Anyway, so then they worked up to in-person yoga classes. And so I thought, yeah, I got to go support my buddies who are all learning how to be yoga instructors. So on this Friday afternoon, I walked down, a very long street to get to this yoga class. It's a 30-minute walk. And I walked, one, for exercise and fresh air, but two, also because I live in New York City and I'm broke because I work in publishing. And on my way there, it caught my eye. It was on the same side of the street as me. At this point, it was in maybe officially Bushwick, the neighborhood of Brooklyn. And I saw this orange-red chicken just like wandering around this parking lot. And, at first I thought it was funny and cute and I took a photo, and then some guy saw it and was like, what the hell? And he was like, oh, I guess it's from over there. And I didn't really know what he meant. And I was running late for this class. So I thought, okay, I need to just keep going. This chicken's going to be okay. I did feel pretty guilty about leaving her there. But I went to my yoga class, which was amazing. Got to see all my friends who are learning to be yoga instructors.
Your new community.
My new community. It was actually so, I don't know how, I know people joke about how Portland is, but Brooklyn can be really Brooklyn sometimes. And there was literally the yoga instructor, I guess she didn't have a babysitter. And so her 2 kids were just running around the entire time we were doing yoga. And then at the end, during Shavasana, she played a ukulele and sang a song for us.
She was delivering. She was serving Brooklyn. Brooklyn was.
Yeah. And I will say the kids tried to take my yoga blocks to build a fort in the back. And I had to I was that one adult that was like, no, actually, these are my blocks.
Did you hit him with the block? You're like, please go away.
I did not. I gave them 1 block because I thought it was nice that they asked and didn't just take it. So anyway, after the amazing yoga class, I walked back, and I'm walking back. Thank goodness for not having $3 to take the subway. And as I was walking back on the opposite side of the street this time, I noticed that the chicken was right next to a live poultry market. And I thought, oh no, that's where she escaped from. And I saw some men in these white coats. They almost look like lab coats, like butcher coats. I don't know. And I saw them walking up and I thought, oh, they probably just grabbed her and I probably am too late. But then I saw them kind of drive off and I noticed that there was a young woman, she had just put all her stuff on the ground and was trying to get this chicken. And I thought, oh, okay, this is going to happen. And so I literally called a person I had plans with and said, animal emergency, have to cancel plans. Let's reschedule. And because I knew this was not going to be a quick thing, And so I crossed the street and I was like, I'm guessing you're trying to catch this chicken. And she was like, yeah. And I could tell she was so emotional about it. She was like, I'm worried about it. I don't know what to do. And I said, it was there an hour ago. Don't worry. I'll help you. We'll do this together. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, totally. Cause I just, on my own, I would not have been brave enough to get it and figure out what to do with it. But now there was this other person. I was like, yes, we can do this.
Oh my God. I wish I was there with you. I wish that it could have been a trio. I love this story.
Yeah. Cause I feel I have a feeling you're really good with chickens, aren't you? You probably, yes, totally. You have chicken energy for sure. I can feel it. But, so, right away I asked this I say young person. I'm in my early 40s. I think she was probably in her late 20s. She, I was like, do you have, worst case scenario, do you have a bathroom where you could keep it for the night so that we could figure out what to do with it tomorrow? And she was like, no, I live with 3 cats. And I was like, yeah, I live with a cat as well. And so I told her about the Wild Bird Fund, which is, I don't know if you know them in New York, but yeah, they're a volunteer run nonprofit. You can call them, and you can get assistance. They have info on their website for what to do if you find an injured bird or, for different scenarios, but they have a location where apparently it's 7 days a week between the hours of 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. You can just drop off a bird that you find that needs help. However, at this point, it was getting kind of late. I didn't know if we'd make it in time. So that didn't seem like the best option for us. And so she was calling the Wild Bird Fund. I just had this instinct to call this vegan deli that's a couple blocks away. I don't even know them personally. I love their food. I will confess I am not vegan. I love their food. I am
what's the deli?
Yeah. They're called Satan's Helper.
Oh my God. Incredible. I love that you were like, this is who I'm going to call as this vegan business.
And they're run by these 2 amazing folks. And I follow them on Instagram. I had a Thanksgiving dinner through them. I just love their energy. And I called them and said, hey, you don't know me, but I'm a customer and I just found a chicken on the street and it's healthy and I don't know what to do. And what were you going to say?
How had you guys caught it at this point, or were you just planning before you even caught it?
we were planning before we even caught it because it was in this crazy giant parking lot. It was like and you could not scale the fence. Like it was such a massive tall fence, but we could tell that it had gone under, and we knew that if we got it close enough, we could just grab it, from underneath the fence. And we were sure that's how it got in as well. So we were just like, before we're holding this chicken, we need to have a plan. And so, and this was all, happening. We weren't really having a lot of time to process, like, like, is this the right decision? What's happening? So, it was just operation, get this chicken and save its life. And so, I kid you not, the owner of the vegan restaurant said to me, she was like, okay, I have some ideas, but I'm actually with a customer right now making them a sandwich. So let me call you right back.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. So incredible. And so, but before we hung up, this person said to me, definitely call all these different animal sanctuaries, but I'll call my friend who might be able to help as well. And I said, okay, thank you. I expected to never hear from them ever again, because why would they call me back? And so then, I called a bunch of animal sanctuaries in upstate New York, and no one answered. It was a Friday at like 5:45 p.m. at this point. Nicole, is it just me, or does everything kind of intense happen after 5 on a Friday, or like on the weekend?
Oh yeah, like animal emergencies for sure. Like that's when they clock in.
Yeah, it's like when everyone's gone home for the weekend. And so the only person who answered was this amazing man in New Jersey from an animal sanctuary. And he was like, here's the deal. He was like, if I come get it and we cross state lines with this chicken, we'll have to get it tested for like avian bird flu. It's a whole thing. He's like, it'll be like quarantine for like a week. You don't want to do that. You really want to get it somewhere in New York. And I was like, okay, good to know. Don't want to make this chicken's life any harder than it already is.
Oh my God, it's such a big deal. Yeah. Like at these sanctuaries, like if they have visitors, sometimes like you have to dip your shoes in bleach or like step on a mat with bleach on it to make sure you're not cross contaminating. Like, and the different people are like, don't feed the birds in your yard because birds aren't supposed to get together. It's like a huge drama. So you're now ensconced in the bird health drama community.
Yeah, it was a lot. And so then we were Googling on our phones the best way to touch a chicken, to grab a chicken, to safely hold a chicken. So we're learning about, to get it from its front and not, totally. And not yes. So we're doing this. And while this is all happening, I get a call back from am I pronouncing it right? I know you're the vegan expert. Is it Satan?
I would say Satan, but
Satan.
I don't think that like the devil's going to come correct you.
So Satan's helper, they call me back and they're like, guess what? Great news. I called my friend Kay and she said she, already has a couple of chickens. And she said, if you can get this chicken to her, she'll take it in. And I just couldn't even believe it. It was just I was like, where does she live? Please live close by. And she was like, yeah, she lives in Bushwick. And I was like, perfect. Same neighborhood. I got the address. It was just going to be like a 10-minute car ride because yes, we were going to put this chicken in a Lyft or an Uber. Like there was no way we were going to walk it or take the subway or a bus with it.
Right. Wise. Okay.
Yeah. And so,
wait, what did you learn about picking up a chicken from the internet? What did it say?
Well, the internet said that you should really try and get it from its like kind of chest area in the front, its breast area. It said that. And I think it also said the side. It said once you hold the chicken, you can kind of like hold it sort of like a football or like a baby. And that was really helpful because I could just tell that is empathetic as I now finally had to ask her, like, what is your name? Person I've been on the street with for 45 minutes. Michaela. Cause I could tell that Michaela and I were both we wanted to help, but I could tell we were also both a little timid about, grabbing this chicken, I was in the timid mode of, I don't want to hurt this chicken. I don't want to accidentally, like, I didn't know how delicate a chicken was. I didn't want to accidentally like break its foot or something.
Well, their little bones and their wings are so tiny and delicate. It makes perfect sense.
Thank you, Nicole, for saying that. Yeah, and I gave Michaela my gloves. I said, look, if you want me to lure it with my charming baby voice, because it seemed to really like me when I talked in a baby voice, and it would get really close to me. I was like, if you feel comfortable, use my gloves, grab. And she was like, great, got it. And so we're doing this, and as we were doing this, it started to wander far off, and I was like, oh no, like, we're going to lose it. And then I made a joke, and I hope this doesn't seem sexist, but I said, if only, always great way to begin a sentence. I was like, if only some really just like wild teenage boys who weren't scared of anything just came by, and I could just ask them to grab it for us. Like, I know that's terrible. They didn't have to be teenage boys, but that was my, that was the thought that came to me. And I kid you not, these teenage boys appeared.
You summoned them?
Summoned them. And they're like, hey, what are you guys doing? And I was like, yes. We told them what we were doing. And I kid you not, one of them got so excited. He said, yes, we stumbled upon like the greatest thing right now. Let's start the group chat going now. What should we call it? Like he was like so into being a part of this.
Oh my God. You have like 2 new communities that have come up just during like your yoga community. And then now you're like teenage boy and chicken helper community.
And then one of the teenage boys was like, yeah, my grandma used to raise chickens, so I'm familiar. And yes, it was just like, so they were like, what do you need? And I said, well, I found it at home. I'm going to get in an Uber. They were like, that's amazing. I love that you found it at home. And, we pointed out the live poultry market, and everyone was just like, and I want to just also say that between this moment and before, so many people walked by and they were like, oh. And I would say, I'd be like, do you know anything about chickens? Do you want to help? And everyone would be like, I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry. It was like that karma for every time someone's been like, will you sign this petition? And you're like, I'm in a hurry.
I was going to say, you're like a canvasser. You're like you're like a hidden camera person. You're totally on what would you do? Like, would you save this chicken from the live poultry parking lot?
Everyone was like, I fully support what you're doing. I just can't help right now.
Wait, so are you on the other side of this fence?
Yeah.
So the chicken's in an empty parking lot surrounded by a huge fence.
Yeah.
And now your job, with the help of your new clique, is to try and lure it towards the fence so you can like reach under and grab it.
We were having we were baby talking to it, and it was coming really close to us and kind of letting us like touch it ever so slightly. So it was like, we just needed to like forcefully grab it from under this fence. We knew that it wasn't going to go peacefully as it had been through a lot.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you, the best person that passed by was this British woman who was like, she was like, oh my God, a chicken. And we were like, yeah, do you want to help save it? And she was like, I just flew in. I'm really confused. We were like, okay, it's okay. We were like, welcome to New York. Anyway, so yeah, at some point I said, you guys, we just have to do it. We just have to, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. And so one of the teenage boys was like, yeah, totally. And so we lured it, and he just stuck his arms in, grabbed it under the fence. And yes, it made a lot of commotion. It was a very stressful, like 20 seconds max.
Yeah.
And we plopped it into Michaela's arms, and it just was so chill and calm, and yeah, it just was ready to go to its new life.
She was like, I don't know how, but I got out of this damn meat market. I met this like band of new friends, the cast of the reboot of Friends 2024, intergenerational buddies, like helping me. And so then I'm going to guess you did not call Uber Pet, which is now an option, but you called normal Uber, putting your rating at risk.
Yeah. So, I called the Lyft, and I did not see the pet I didn't see the pet option, but I would have done it had I seen it, but I did not see it that time. Maybe it's an Uber and not a Lyft thing.
It's an Uber thing. I don't call it, and I think that I've been penalized. Anyway.
I was in like, even though crisis had been averted, I was still in crisis mode. So I was like talking really fast, and I was just like saying what we were doing. I was like, okay, Michaela, you're going to sit in the back and hold the chicken. I'm going to carry all your stuff and sit in the front and distract the driver.
Good. Did you have something over the chicken, or it was just a matter of trying to distract?
She was holding the chicken like a baby kind of. And so like, and I had to open the door for her, obviously. So I don't know what the driver thought, if anything. Like why we would not sit together, and,
the whole thing feels very like pregnant fiance somehow.
Right? I was kind of thinking that.
Like you were like having to like open the door for her. You're getting in the back, like you're like, step on it. Like there's some kind of heist/pregnancy movie, like look who's talking kind of thing happening.
And before we got into the Lyft, before the Lyft driver got there, the teenage boys were like, can we take a picture? And we're like, yeah, totally. And so we took a couple of selfies together, and they're very sweet. And I have to tell you, the chicken was like looking at herself in the iPhone. Like she was a very observant, very interested, curious chicken. And so, and then we made our way. I was texting. We got picked up by a Tesla. I did not know how to open the door to the Tesla because it's such a foreign thing to me. So while this woman is holding the chicken, she's like, no, push in. And so then we were, driving. It felt like the longest 10 minutes stuck in traffic. The driver was blasting Bruno Mars. The chicken was very quiet. And then we got there, and these two amazing people were just waiting for us. Kay, and I cannot remember the other person's name. And, I jumped out, opened the door for Michaela. They got whisked away, and the Lyft driver said, she's got a chicken. And I was like, yeah. And he was like laughing about it. So I think that my rating's okay.
Okay, good. You're like, look, we didn't leave any feathers. We didn't leave any chicken poop. Probably.
Who knows? It was dark. But yeah, so I grabbed all of Michaela's stuff because pregnant fiance. Yeah. And followed them all into this backyard. And yeah, these people have a chicken coop. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
And they've got I want to say they've got two other chickens, and I don't know if I should say this, an accidental rooster. They didn't know.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah. So maybe we'll edit that out because I don't know if they're legal in the city. But
we'll just bleep that. They have a beep.
And, they immediately put who I'd now learned Michaela had named Crimson while we were in the car, blasting Bruno Mars. I'll never forget that Bruno Mars moment. It was very tender.
What Bruno Mars songs?
I'm going to have to look it up, but it's been in my head, and now I can't think, of course. I'm so sorry. But it felt like we were listening to a bunch of Bruno Mars songs.
Okay, great. The patron saint now of Crimson, the chicken.
And they plopped Crimson in a little like animal carrier and said, oh, she's really heavy. And the next day that would make me a little sad because I would read about how, poultry markets often fatten up their chickens. And so, anyway, so she's in there, and they said, yeah, we'll have to, just like when you bring a new cat into a household, you really have to slowly introduce them. We can't just put her out there. And because at first I was like, why is she in that carrier? Free Crimson. And then they said, do you want to come inside and meet our hairless cats?
Yeah, sure. Why not? In for a penny, in for a pound.
And, at that point, I logically knew like I wasn't supposed to, I wasn't supposed to trust strangers, nonetheless, never, and especially not go into their place. But at this point, we were all just like high off of rescuing Crimson. And I was like, yeah, it's a party. Let's go. So we go into this house, and it's just adorable. There are just hairless cats everywhere. There's a Chihuahua. It's just like paradise. And and they were like, we have events here all the time. We'll invite you when the weather's better during the summer. So we are going to get invited to a salon, some sort of happening maybe readings, that sort of thing there. But yeah, these people were so cool and sweet, and they asked us if we were vegan, and I thought it was a test, and I felt so bad. I was like, no, actually, I'm not vegan. And they were like, oh no, that's fine. We'll give you some we'll give you some eggs from our chickens. So we got some of Crimson's new roommate's eggs.
This is incredible.
Yeah, it was like the nicest energy, the nicest vibes. So everyone was so sweet. And yeah, we were there for a while. I used their bathroom. It had been a long night. And yeah, they said that they would keep us posted as she integrated with the other chickens. And we said goodbye to Crimson eventually. And Michaela and I walked to the subway because I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay $3. I deserve to take the subway. And yeah, so then the next day, they sent me Kay and the other person who I feel so bad for forgetting their name. They sent me a video of Crimson with her like slowly getting integrated. So she was outside and she was in one little area, and the other chickens and beep beep we're just kind of like watching her, and just, everyone's just kind of checking in. And they said that Crimson is doing great. She continues to be the sweetest. It's true. She's a really sweet gal. And yeah, that they would keep us updated. So very excited for her new life.
That's incredible. And are you on a group thread with Michaela and the young men?
So Michaela and I are texting. The young men and I actually did not trade contact info. I think that would have been like a little next level, and maybe
that's a little May, December. Yeah.
A little May, December. Great movie. I loved it.
Great movie.
Todd Haynes. Yes. And so we did not keep in touch with them, but we know that there's probably photos of us with them online somewhere.
I wish that they made a TikTok. I wish that one of the teen boys was like, yo, the craziest thing happened. And then like, you just happen to be in the photo on this TikTok that like, maybe you'll never see, but as you walk down the street, teenagers will be like, yo, respect.
Well, it was a Friday night in New York, and it was the new moon in Aquarius. I think that's what that night was. It was definitely a new moon. And it was like Lunar New Year. I feel like that was like the first of many crazy things that probably happened to those teenage boys as they wandered into the night.
This is an incredible story.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Really couldn't have done it without Michaela, Crimson, Satan's helper, Kay, the other person involved, the teenage boys.
And then supporting cast, the hairless cats, the Chihuahua.
Yeah, and Solid Gold Yogi. They're so wonderful. And they actually love this story. When I went to yoga class yesterday, there were no chickens, did the same path, and invited Michaela, who wants to join me sometime. And as soon as I walked in, the owner of the yoga studio was like, I loved your chicken story. And then she started telling everyone there about the chicken story. So.
Oh my God. Well, thanks for being a friend to animals.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, I definitely, people have asked me, like, this is a little too serious. We don't have to talk about this, but they've asked me, are you going to stop eating chicken? And I have some, I have some feelings now. And the next day when I was grocery shopping, I did buy some eggs, and I could only buy the free range eggs. I couldn't imagine. So it's just one little incident, and it's definitely changed me.
Oh my God. I'm going to start dropping random chickens around the world and see. The poor chickens would be like, what?
But yeah, I've told this story to a few people, and a lot of people have told me that they're kind of scared of chickens. They think that they'll scratch them with their legs or something. And so I think maybe also chickens need better PR.
I mean, the less, this happens. Yeah. Like you have to learn, like birds are probably not going to peck you, or if they do, it doesn't hurt them. They're not going to peck you that hard.
That's what Kay was telling me on the phone. She was like, yeah, don't worry. Like if she pecks you, it's just going to feel like a little pinch. It's not going to draw blood. And I just needed someone to tell me that. And then after that, it was fine. When
I rescued a baby squirrel at the beginning of pandemic, I needed somebody to tell me it's not going to give you rabies because it was like a little baby that needed help. And I was like, like, I just wasn't sure. Cause you think about like grabbing like a rat or something and you just imagine it going and biting you. to get away, and then you get whatever disease. And so I just thought like picking up a baby squirrel, but no, it was fine. Didn't want to bite me.
One of the only times I saw my like big Texas cowboy father scared was when he was rescuing a baby squirrel from our air condition.
Oh my God.
He had these giant gloves on that I think like a dog couldn't bite through them, and he was still scared. So yeah, something about the fragility of a baby squirrel.
It's like the fragility, the unknown, and it's a wild animal.
I mean, yeah, Fig, my cat, was semi-feral when I brought her in, and I was a little scared. I was a little scared of this 9-pound cat at first, and she actually still hisses at people, but she doesn't mean anything by it. It's just her love language, and people get scared at first, even though she doesn't have teeth, she doesn't have a tail.
Doesn't have teeth or a tail?
No, and she's like 9.5 pounds.
Oh my God, beautiful! That's how much Ponyo weighs.
Oh.
I love this chicken story. And I feel like that Lyft driver he has a story, or they have a story. Now everyone's got a story.
Everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. We're all bonded. I'm really excited to see what happens with Crimson. I love that she lives in like kind of I don't want to say a party house because it doesn't have that vibe, but like they have a backyard. So during the summer, they have writers do readings there. They have like clothing swaps. It's like a very like kind of like old school DIY, just like a cool, fun place where people gather. So yeah, she's like a hipster chicken now.
She's a socialite. She's gone from nerd to knockout. She's like a total socialite now. She's going to be hosting salons like with her new sisters. And someone else. And, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and telling us this story.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Yeah. So I just, if you see a chicken, please help it.
Help it out. Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah. So I have an Instagram that, don't let it being private fool you. I'll add you back as long as you don't look like a total spam bot. And it's my name, Cathy Dela Cruz, CathyDelacruz. I'm also on LinkedIn if you'd prefer to keep it professional. And also Cathy Dela Cruz there. And also I have a couple of pieces in an anthology that just came out on the Feminist Press last week. It's called the Weird Sister Collection. And we are doing a few readings. So I'll be at the one I don't know when this will air, but I'm definitely going to be at one at McNally Jackson in Manhattan next week. And then a couple weeks later, I'll be at one at $3 Bill in Brooklyn. And then I know for West Coast folks, I won't be on those tours, but there will be a bunch of amazing, amazing writers. So check it out. The Weird Sister Collection on the Feminist Press, wherever books are sold.
Oh my God, I love that. Cathy, thank you so much. And please come back to the podcast anytime. And I encourage you to now go seek out strange animals.
Well, I don't know if you know this about me, but every time I go back to Texas, I trap and spay and neuter, feral cats. It's like my thing when I go back to visit my family. It's a little stress reliever when I'm back in Texas.
Oh my God, that sounds so stressful to me. That sounds like you are going to get like bit and scratched and like cat scratch fever and screamed at by cats.
Yeah. So my mom has 7 cats. And that's legal in Texas. So don't get upset, anyone. But it's a problem. So got to take care of it when I'm there, even if I'm only there for a week.
You're spaying every animal in sight.
I'm like, hey, I don't see an ear tip. Let's go.
Ponyo has a little green tattoo on her stomach from when she got spayed because she was a stray.
Yeah, Fig, my cat, has a little clipped ear because she was semi-feral and someone had her spayed. But yeah, it's a thing. Most cities offer low income and free spay and neutering for feral cats. And yeah. And even if here's a pro tip, even if they're not exactly feral, As long as you don't mind them getting an ear tip, you can get the low income or free spaying and neutering.
Good. And if you're like loaded and your cat gets pregnant, you could also get a cat abortion.
Oh, totally, for sure. Even in Texas.
Even in Texas?
I mean, I don't want to give them any ideas, but yeah, it's still legal. Cat abortions are still legal in Texas.
The first time I met somebody that told me in Portland, who told me she got her cat an abortion, I was like scandalized. Like I didn't know it existed.
So, Nicole, I learned about cat abortions when I was a child because my mom took one of our cats to get spayed, and she came back and she was like, in this quiet tone, she was like, it turns out Felicia was pregnant. And we were just like, oh my God.
But as a kid, were you like, where's the babies? And she was like, there's no babies.
Yeah, I think I just knew. I was like, cat abortion. I knew.
Tiny, tiny coat hanger on a button.
OMG.
I'm like, never again. Meow.
Oh.
Keep cat abortion safe and legal.
For real. Even though it's better, I think, probably to just get them spayed before.
It's a lot better to get them. I mean, that's a lot easier to get them spayed. Sure.
Whew, I knew something controversial was going to come up on this podcast.
This is the controversy. Like Sagittarian Matters advocates cat abortions. Sagittarian Matters is produced by Chris Sutton with assistance by Panyo Georges. Our theme music is composed by Carolyn Pennypacker Riggs of the band Bouquet. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.